Good morning. Welcome to the beautiful Hammer Theater. One day we may look back at 2018 and think this was the time that downtown really turned the corner. It started with two unexpected events in March. Suddenly, out of nowhere, scooters were dropped on our street. Very popular with riders looking for a fast, inexpensive, fun way to get from point A to point B. And they weren't exactly popular with everybody. They created some conflicts with pedestrians on the sidewalks, but the gig economy that created this urban mobility without any rules or regulations and really tied some of the cities up in knots, didn't really know what to do with it. Really, to San Jose's credit, we kind of took our time to figure out what the regulations are going to be. We're going to see just how the city's idea of geofencing to keep the scooters off sidewalks is going to play out as this goes to the City Council next week. The other big event in March was the Women's March, which took place in San Jose, kind of representing the incredible values that San Jose has at its core about equality, about diversity, about inclusion, with a little bit of politics thrown in as well. And it was also a prescient time, kind of ahead of the November elections, because there was a message that was going to be delivered about what we represent when we lift and encourage all of our residents. And beginning in January, half of the City Council members are going to be women. After Maya Esparza was elected in District 7, defeating Tam Nguyen in a rematch, and Pam Foley won the District 9 seat, defeating Don Rocha, who will not be joining our downtown supervisor, Cindy Chavez, on the County Board of Supervisors, as he lost to another woman, Susan Ellenberg, for the District 4 seat, which is going to change a little bit of the alchemy on our Board of Supervisors next year. Also in November, 10 and 6 were defeated, and we split on the local measures T and V. There was an election also in June. We had some incumbents reelected. Mayor Liccardo, our downtown council member, Raul Perales, Vice Mayor Magdalena Carrasco, and District 1, Chappie Jones. But the big fight was Measure B. I don't know if you remember this. This was the deceptive measure put on the ballot by Ponderosa Homes and an army of lobbyists that wanted to dupe our general plan and build homes on employment lands in Evergreen. Since the mayor was running virtually unopposed, he led an effort to tell the truth about these measures. And we delivered, never been prouder of San Jose voters, we delivered a good old-fashioned beat down on B. I think it might be a long time before we see a deceptive measure like this put on San Jose's ballot again. Our voters are just too smart to fall for it. The biggest surprise and the best surprise of the year had to do with how we were going to bring the BART subway beneath downtown San Jose. Was it going to be the twin bore that would require ripping up the street, Santa Clara Street, for years, or was it going to be the single bore that would keep the streets largely intact? Fortunately, we had great leadership at VTA, at BART, at the county, at the city, with the media, and with the Downtown Association, and it became single bore. What this allows us to do is to keep Santa Clara Street a street while we're building the subway down below and have the businesses and the sidewalks be able to operate. What's going to happen is you have a deeper bore now, and the penetrations up to the surface are for the entrances to the stations. We still have a ton of work to do on BART. We have engineering to do. We have property acquisitions still, and we have to get funding from the feds. There's going to be a ton more outreach that's going to happen to all of us as we go through and figure out how we're going to build the single board. There's still going to be impacts. There's still going to be a need for us to create a construction mitigation plan and a business interruption fund, which we're working with VTA on right now. We supported the Sharks lawsuits that challenged the construction plan and the fact that BART doesn't want to build a single parking space next to the station at SAP Center. We are going to work closely with VTA as we bring BART through the heart of the city without killing the patient. One of the things that we also have to do is we have to name the 2 downtown stations. And I just want to say right now we are not supporting the idea floating around for the Spearmint Rhino BART station. By far, the biggest story of 2018 was Google. They assembled 50 acres on the west side of downtown. 20 of the acres were publicly owned land, so that required a year-long public process that resulted in headlines almost weekly. It was speaker forums, press conferences indoors, outdoors, international coverage, protests at the SAG meetings inside City Hall, at San Jose State campus, protests in front of City Hall. And I have to give it to the opposition. They had some really creative flyers. I mean, that one of the mayor with the ice cream is downright creepy classic. Despite the fears of displacement and gentrification, just last Wednesday, in the wee hours of the morning, the City Council voted unanimously to sell the lands to Google. And now, as we say, the real work begins, because it's going to be years where we're looking at creating this incredible mixed-use urban tech district that links impeccably with the downtown core. It's going to require new zoning, new environmental work, new design plans. It is the reason that Google chose this area is because of all of the transportation infrastructure that's planned for the area. Already we have Caltrain, Amtrak, light rail, BART's coming, high-speed rail is coming. Just last month, the city and high-speed rail rejected the underground alignment, the aerial alignment. The viaduct is still on the table, which we detest, but there's also an at-grade alignment for high-speed rail. And we're all trying to work together. Look at those, this is a better one in the center. Look at the group of public sector entities that are working together finally. Caltrain, VTA, the city, high-speed rail, working together to make sure that the station that we build here, where all of the transit systems converge, is the best public works project ever created in the Bay Area. We have years of work ahead of us for Google in the station area planning, but one thing is certain: the dancing pig sign will be saved. A lot of development going on the north side of downtown. Fairfield's The James, right across from St. James Park, is finishing up. Milk Creek's Madera project is rising, San Pedro Square. Sobrato organization broke ground and topped out on their 3rd River Corporate Center office. Over on Ballback Street, Silicon Sage is finishing up. Core Development has got the Spark hovering tall in Sofa District. And AmCal and Barry Swenson are working together on the Graduate at the corner of 2nd and Carlos Streets. This big hole in the ground across from City Hall is where the twin Miro apartment towers are going to rise. And ZNL is buttoning up the Silvery Towers. This is in the North San Pedro district that has just seen a ton of construction activity right now. But maybe the biggest news was a lot of the other transactions that are happening, including Gary Dillabaugh and the Urban Community Group that bought $230 million worth of buildings and parking lots throughout downtown, including some of our most notable properties in the historic district, SoFA, and around St. James Park. Another headline-grabbing acquisition was Travis Kalachek, who bought the old Oddfellows. You might know it as Hank Coca's Furniture Building, right on Santa Clara and 3rd Street. The Fairmont sold in January for $250 million to Eagle Capital. And J. Paul, other than Google, this was the second biggest acquisition during the year. J. Paul bought the City View Plaza blocks, the Dorman Building and the J.C. Penney Building for $330 million. So which of these older buildings are going to be rehabbed in 2019? Which of the entitled new construction projects are going to see starts in 2019 and join our project list? Well, I know one that's going to get on the project list, and this is the site. Adobe is doubling down and is building their 4th tower and is going to create this sky bridge linking their campus together on San Fernando Street. Will we see Star City building co-living on Bassett Street? Or perhaps this triad of towers in the SoFA district? Or will it be Sobrato Organization's stunning office proposal across from Plaza Park? TMG has entitled 1 million square feet of office just north of SAP Center called Platform 16. They all look the same sometimes. I recognize the Metropole building. This is post San Pedro that got the city's last park incentive fees. And what's going to happen in the core of downtown? Is J. Paul going to move on the redevelopment of City Center Plaza? Or will Urban Communities Museum Place, flipping it to office, get underway? Or will it be DeNapoli's 200 Park Avenue that moves first? One thing we do know is the music is going to stop at some point. Which projects are going to end up on the sideline? There's a lot of plans right now in at the city. Residential towers, hotels, projects that have been on the books for years but are still no closer to a shovel in the ground. It can't be a good sign for Parkview if the Church of Christ Scientists building is encased in a giant prophylactic. All of the activity in the private sector has inspired the city to think differently about their role downtown and to think bigger. What about Guadalupe River Park? Are we really close to having it realize its potential with things like a whitewater park? The Parks Department did an interim dog park in St. James while they're costing out this grand plan to transform St. James Park with amphitheater, with beautiful fountains, a play area, a cafe, a monument walk. The city is looking at connecting Park Avenue with San Jose State and Guadalupe River Park and really bringing some of the beautiful amenities of the PASEO and bringing them out on Park Avenue and having this incredible east-west connection. Not only is San Jose looking at its edges, they're looking at the boundaries up above as well. And finally looking at the height limits that have been imposed for the last decade and eliminating them and allowing the downtown to grow up, where on the west side of downtown it could result in double the heights that we have today. Bikes are going to be incredibly important to our future as a city. And some of you have noticed we've added bike lanes this year. Confused a few drivers also, but we're going to have to get used to it because more bikes are coming. And all of these new features are a way to increase all of our mobility options for getting around. San Jose State continues its growth and partnership, both on its capital programs under the leadership of President PASEO. The campus life is very vibrant right now, and it was cool to see the 50th anniversary celebrations of Tommy Smith and John Carlos Mexico City Olympic protests that we saw downtown earlier this year. The city has wholeheartedly embraced this public life strategy. And there's one man that I would like to give a shout out to and kudos for initiating this civic initiative, and it's the Knight Foundation and Danny Harris. You see this reflected in the Burning Man temporary art installations that the Office of Cultural Affairs has put all around the city during the year, including this cool Instagrammable piece that's right in front of the Hammer Theater. And it's spread to other places too, like Fountain Alley with this really cool shadow puppet installation. And for our artists, young and younger, our inspired and beautiful mural programs that keep expanding throughout the downtown, and our activations and festivals that make us pause and look up and engage with our community. It's not all carrots. We need some sticks too. There was a new program that was put in place, an empty storefront registry program. I'm sure you're all shocked that the Dr. U building was the first fine. And we also are using code enforcement, to get rid of some of the clutter that we have in our public spaces. Hey, we're pretty fortunate to have a team like the Sharks that makes the playoffs every year and turns downtown teal each spring. And we're looking forward to another Stanley Cup run this year. But before that, we have the All-Star Game that is going to be hosted at SAP Center on January 26th. But before that, we have an even bigger event. The college football playoffs are going to be. The game itself will be at Levi's Stadium, but all of the action is going to be downtown. It's incredible. I would have to put 20 slides up here to show you everything that's going to happen. Make sure you check it out. Our downtown business distribution kind of maintained its equilibrium this year. One of the trends we saw was a number of our tech sector, existing tech businesses expand into larger locations downtown, including some of the business service and construction services as well. It was a mixed bag, frankly, for our retail sector. We lost our pharmacy, we shuttered our hardware store, we lost some venerable businesses like Gordon Biersch and the Lido Club. But the indomitable spirit of our small business entrepreneurs prevailed. We had numerous openings throughout the year where you can sip, mostly eateries, enjoy great food all through the downtown. Every single district saw new openings and And it wasn't just food and beverage businesses that we were opening. There were personal service businesses, fitness businesses, and whether you like it or not, there's a 7-Eleven opening at 3rd and Fernando here within the week. And there's more to come. We have some fabulous new businesses that are under construction right now that are planning to open in 2019. So there's one prevalent crack in the joy in downtown. And we didn't need the headline this week to remind us that homelessness is worsening. We see it every day on our streets, our sidewalks, our parks, our plazas. And it is real, the impacts. It is real human suffering, but it's also real for us with the trash and the crime and the feedings. We know that this isn't just downtown San Jose's problem. It's not just the city's problem. We know what we have to do with the tactics. It is trying to provide a home for everybody that we can. We have great leadership at the county and the city on this. We have great nonprofit partners that are working to provide services for the homeless. We know that we could and that we should have better interagency cooperation and results, especially for what we call the service-resistant population, the mentally ill and the drug-addicted that are living on our streets. Downtown is going to do its part. We opened the plaza in January, 47 beds. We broke ground this year on a permanent supportive housing project just north of St. James Park. We're bringing tiny homes to the district as well, because the only thing that we can do is keep trying to help one individual, one bed at a time. And we have a long way to go. Downtown can't be the only place that we're siting these facilities. We're going to need the entire help of the city and the county. One small thing that we are doing is working with the City Housing Department and Downtown Streets team with our unique job training and apprentices program that results in formerly homeless folks, like Rick Cervantes is one of 9 formerly homeless individuals that is now fully employed with Groundworks. I don't know what we would do downtown without Groundworks, how it would look, feel, smell, with the daily tasks that we have to do, the painting, the scrubbing, the sweeping, the raking, the washing, the hauling, the pruning, the trimming, the fixing, the partnering, the loving, the counting, planting, detailing, beautifying, ungirdling, precariously perching, and the street life projects that we do as well. This is a Moment in San Pedro Square that opened in May. The San Jose Made curated shops there are a revelation. If you haven't been in San Pedro Square to check them out, it's where you should do some Christmas shopping. PBID celebrated its 10th year. We're strong. We're entering our 2nd decade, super strong. Business development services have been very successful because of how close we get to work with the city's stellar small business ambassadors. Our security program is finally firing. I shouldn't use that bad metaphor. Our security program is cranking now on all cylinders because of the next generation of San Jose police officers that have been hired to fill out our secondary employment detail. I know our president, Chuck Hammers, is super excited about the new equipment PBID has just procured, including this power washing trike that allows us to get in for hot spots and biohazards more efficiently. But this ride-on, this is pretty awesome. This is this new ride-on vacuum that allows us to pick up leaves and trash and keep those new bike lanes clean as well. So the Downtown Association is the mothership of all of our corporations. Our board did a strategy session this year. We have our marching orders as a staff. We reflect that in our budget and our legacy programs like the Farmers Market in San Pedro Square. Our outdoor movie series with the Parks Department in St. James Park. Music in the Park had 4 concerts this summer. Our Dine Downtown Restaurant Week showcases our eclectic dining scene downtown. Downtown Doors is just keeps growing. We had more entries, more parents, more great art. It's so wonderful to see these young artists all being honored at our San Jose Museum of Art each year. We have won an IDA, International Downtown Association Marketing Award this year because we get the word out pretty effectively, digitally, through ads, through posters, billboards, transit shelters, tweets, websites, pedicabs. Any way we can, we try to spread the good news about downtown. It was a good year for our individual districts, including the SOFA district. It had this magical day in September with Via Calle and the SOFA Street Fair. I think the businesses are most excited about finally getting smart meters into SOFA. And the punk rock flea market at the Ritz helps, one of the things that helps keep SOFA a little bit weird, along with our galleries and our alternative music and our alternative fashion. It was a wonderful year for Team San Jose and the Convention Center as well, a lot of big events, and that was reflected in gains we had this year with our downtown hotel occupancy and room rates. Our arts and museums had another strong year with their programming, and we got another brick in the wall with the stage company making a deal to secure long-term space in the SOFA district. Cinequest, as always, was brilliant. So was the San Jose Jazz Summerfest. Our Day of the Dead activities downtown are always super fun. Conscious SJ Yoga Festival. And it was really good to see our Pride Festival this year get a little bit cheeky. We have such great weather. This is the place to do things outdoors, whether we're dancing, whether we're running, whether we're biking. You know, nothing can deter us. No, eclipses don't keep us down. The smoke, the national events. There's so many wonderful moments for us to enjoy the community that we have here. Our downtown councilman welcomed a new son to his family. This was, I thought, a great gem this year. The San Jose State Beethoven Center got a signed copy of Beethoven's 7th Symphony. So many events, it's hard for me to choose my favorite, but I wanted to give a runner-up to the JFK reenactment that was held in St. James Park. And again, a lot going on at the holidays, hard to choose what's the top thing, including the Santa Run this Sunday. You can still register. But I have to choose Downtown Ice. This is a true San Jose icon. Where else can you skate in and between and around 32 palm trees? We've got star power with Christy Yamaguchi, beneficiary with her Always Dream Foundation, and so many great partners and sponsors with the city. And if you're not sure how beloved the ice rink is, it's rated one of the top outdoor rinks in the country. Just ask all of the teenagers that go out there and skate, because they love downtown San Jose and they represent our future. How do we do it all? Well, we do it with volunteers, with members, with the board, but mostly we do it with the Downtown Association staff, our incredibly talented marketing, communication, and events team, our equally incredibly talented policy and ops team, and our mighty finance and admin team. Couldn't do it without these 13 people. And of course, all of you getting up early again on a Friday morning, thank you. Happy holidays.